segue into the next conversation, which is on this public sector corruption, a very, very concerning one. Dr. Zato, before you come in, because we have a lawyer.
Oh, you didn't allow me to talk about the Occupy Ghana business Attorney General.
No, you're going to come to that. No, you will. You will. You'll come to it. I need you to read that because I have it as well on page 35 and 36 of that judgment.
Great.
I'll take a look at that. But private legal practitioner Isaac Ejuri is with us. That point that Daniel Domelovo makes about the burden of proof in criminal cases that must be beyond reasonable doubt, so that even though there's a lifestyle audit that would then prove that this person, a public sector employee or an officer, minister, CEO of an SOE, earns, say, 50,000, but the person has billions running through their account over a period. A lifestyle audit is done. A certain amount of property is ascribed to the person. It's not enough to impugn corruption. If we're going to deal with, in his view, we're going to get serious with the fight against corruption, we must look at this differently when it comes to public sector corruption. Yeah. Is it one that you support from the legal perspective?
Okay, so really reverse burden has come up a lot in conversations around anti-corruption and also in money laundering across the world. You see in certain European countries, as you mentioned, Germany, Italy, and the likes, they have, very limited elements of, reversed burden, where an accused person will have to, prove that assets or expenses that he's made are not from illegitimate sources. The resources he's possessed are not. Now, it's important to understand that when one is standing criminal trial, we have the republic. There's a reason why we have republic versus that person, right? It's the whole state apparatus that is coming against this person. And so the law seeks to have a balance, right? And so when we say that, okay, the state is the one, all state apparatus bringing to bear on this one individual group of people for having, committed a crime against the state has the power, it has the resources, it has the abilities to be able to prove that crime that they are claiming that this person has committed. And that is why, as a matter of legal position, just of balancing the weight between the parties involved, let's say that you say that this person has done this, you have all the resources of the country to follow and prove that this person has indeed done that. It's a lot of hard work, it's a lot of difficulty, but if you lift that entirely off the state, we could see the chaos that could immediately happen, where anyone who is probably not liked, anyone who is probably, someone doesn't like your, prof's, public commentary and stuff, the next day they pick prof and prof is in court, and you have to, prove to the courts and to the republic that, that small baby Benz that you have, you didn't steal the money, and that's it can easily denigrate into chaos, where state power could be used against, individuals, and typically we say individuals are powerless against the state. The state machinery is so huge, and so you should do the hard work, of, really establishing that this person has done that. There are instances where once the state has, adduced evidence, to prove certain level, the onus then shifts to you, the accused, to, push back and demonstrate that the state is actually wrong or that they got that thing wrong, But to just, reverse burden generally, and to say that we think that the way you walk around, the way you dress, the cars you drive, you are living beyond your means, and so therefore we put you to court to come and answer to why you have the things you have. It could be a bit of a challenge, in terms of how you want to build a country.
That's good. A very, very important point there.
Look, if you just why is everybody saying that let's fast track these issues? Why is everybody saying that let's put speed into these issues? Why is everybody saying let's go use some
specialized court, yes.
on this? Why? Simple as that, because everybody is afraid of a nolle prosequa. Of late, people have seen how nolle prosequas have been abused and misused and have been used as tools to give sweetheart deals to political friends. And so what is happening? People are afraid that, hey, just look at this 7 nolle prosecuors given out. So people are now afraid that if you also wait, and maybe these people also delay their trial, in 2028 or 2022, when there's a change of government, then they will also get nolle prosecuors. So the renewed love for fuss is because of nolle prosecuors. And I think that nolle prosecuors have been abused and misused. If you take a calculator and calculate all the money that the 7 cases have lost, just do a simple calculation of the money that the state alleged. And then you also take a calculator and look at the amount of money that this, you will see that they are almost the same or similar. So the question is that we flushed down this amount of, let's say, $1 billion and through nolle prosecutions, and now we are chasing $1 billion through prosecution. So that is what people. So, and I'm happy that you said it. We should not tinker with the fundamental human rights of people and their presumptions of innocence and guilt beyond reasonable doubt, just because we have gamed the legal system to benefit political friends. It has happened in the NPP, it has happened in the NDC. We've gamed the system. That is not the problem of the individual being charged. Look, to put it a little bluntly, we are 38 million people, Ghanaians, right? If it's the Republic versus you, it is 38 million people against you alone. Just look at the raw numbers. Mm-hmm. The state has everything. They have the military, they have the state intelligence, domestic intelligence, international intelligence, collaboration with the FBI. We've seen all these things. What is expensive? You, the individual, you cannot do that. You, the individual, you cannot write to the FBI to say, FBI, help me, give me this evidence to defend myself. OSP can do that, Auditor-General can do that. Okay. You, the individual, cannot write to the CIA, FBI, all this and that, but the state can do that. So we should not tinker with these fundamental rights because we have failed, or we have been lazy, or we have been unwilling to punish people who have committed crimes because of other interests, including political partisan considerations. We should do that. But we can strengthen the existing infrastructure. We can make the existing infrastructure work. If we don't have enough lawyers at the Attorney-General Department, recruit them and pay them equivalent private sector monies so that they can go. Okay. If we don't have this, then let's do that. Because there's a story told in this country that there was a politician, or there were some politicians who were sent to jail because they have a big stomach, or were sent to jail because, they look some way. Nowadays, if they do that, all of us sitting down here will go to jail. So let them wait first. So my point is that because it was believed that because he stole money, he was eating well, had a big. Today we see that it's so please, let's not tinker with those rights, but we can inform the system to make sure we do it.
I just wanted, because part of the program is also aimed at educating the people, I want to find out from the lawyer, what are the basis for filing nolle prosequa? The way Zato projects it creates an impression as if it is a bad thing. If it is bad, it is bad. But are there basis? Are there no basis? My view is that, look, I'm a lawyer. I think I don't like you, so I try to manufacture some issues or cases or evidence against you. I take you to court and I have no basis. And I drag you through that public persecution, for a long time, and I don't have much basis, and power changes hands, and another party comes, they look at the facts of the matter, and they feel that, look, there was no basis for you to even subject that person through the process, then nolle prosequa may be activated. But this is what I know from an uninformed, position. I just want you to educate, the people of Ghana. What is the basis? Are there justification? Are there no justification? Under what circumstances and conditions would a nolle prosequa be filed?
Daniel Dominovo wants to comment very quickly.
But I'm asking the lawyer.
Yes, Mr. Dominovo.
Thank you very much for the opportunity again. I heard Dr. Zato talking about 32 million Ghanaians coming heavily against one person. I beg to differ, Doc. Ghana is less than half the population of UK. Ghana is about half the population of France. They all have that law. I don't think the state in Ghana is so powerful more than that of the United Kingdom. And even if you come to Africa, there are several countries in Africa who have passed that law. One thing that might have escaped you is that those who steal public funds, those corrupt officers, they are very powerful. They are equally powerful. They are not people who you can easily run over, because they get very astute lawyers who can stand on their feet 24/7, and they can even procure the prosecutors and even the judges, etc. So don't underrate that individual we are talking about. It's only if you have got yourself involved in investigations, you will have seen that proving beyond reasonable doubt is a very tall order, especially in crimes such as economic one and corruption related one. So I want to tell you that the point I want to make is this: we all have the evidence, and of course you came out with an example which is extreme. That is because your stomach is big, or because you are
You're not thinking about whether the person is suffering from hepatitis.
I don't think that is what we are talking about. We are talking about what cannot be reasonable. So
Prosecutor who may go down that path. You can have an overzealous prosecutor who may go down that path. I'm just saying it's possible.
Right.
No, he's thinking about
Let him
himself
conclude on
because
the
his
point.
stomach is big.
Gentlemen, hold on.
Really?
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Nomolo.
So I, for one, if I can offer you this a challenge. I, for one, am ready to go through a lifestyle audit or unexplained wealth audit to prove to you. So if you have held public office and you have not stolen money, you should have traces of how you got your money and you can explain it. This should not be too much a difficult. And remember, if we say unexplained wealth, it's not that they're just one peso or one cedi above your income. Normally, we look at a margin. That is why I gave example that your salary is maybe 20,000 per month. At the end of the year, we expect that you will have earned something in the region of maybe 480,000. But you have 20 million in your accounts. If you don't prove to us that you stick lotto and you got it, etc., you know that the guy, then that means it's unexplainable wealth. Do you know that a guy with 20 million can easily give 2 million to the police officer investigating or to the judge, etc., and run away with the money? So please, we are talking about a crime which is not against an individual. We are talking about crimes which affect all of us, our roads, our hospitals, our schools, our future. So we should not allow individuals to become so powerful. If you hear some of the monies being mentioned, you believe it, that an individual has taken so much money. National service, they are talking about the Auditor-General. I stand to be corrected if the figure is not correct, but it's 2-point-something billion. If that figure is correct, can you imagine? It's mind-boggling. And you think in that situation, we must be able to go and prove that, Mr. A, we saw you signing this check and you removed it from here and there and there. So the evidence, that is the process of crime, should be enough for prosecution at times, especially when the offense affects all of us. It's not an individual. Thank you.
Well, so you still stand by that point that going before the Public Accounts Committee is a waste of time?
Exactly. Why I said that?
Why?
Is because as far back as 2017, the Supreme Court helped us by coming out with a ruling in Occupy Ghana versus Attorney General. And in that ruling, they said, and I quote, that the true and proper interpretation of Article 187, 7B1 of the Constitution is that the Auditor-General is bound, not may. He said the Auditor-General is bound to issue a disallowance or surcharge where there has been any item of expenditure on behalf of the government that is contrary to law. It went on and also said the true and proper interpretation of the Article 187, 7B II, the first one is I, so now II of the Constitution, the Auditor-General again is bound to issue disallowance and surcharge where any person fails to bring any sum into the government's accounts. That is the discount or whatever you get in the course of transacting business on behalf of government, you pocket it. Then the third one, they said the true and proper interpretation of Article 1877 BIII of the Constitution is that the Auditor General is bound to issue disallowance and surcharge where government suffers or incurs a loss or deficiency through the negligence or misconduct of any person. If you can grant me the latitude,
Right.
the consequential orders they granted.
Before you move on, if you could just drop the screen down a bit for me, because I'm losing your image. Mr. Domelevo. Yes. Yes. Perfect. Now, just conclude on that point you're making.
After those pronouncements, the Supreme Court issued consequential orders. And they said in that consequential orders, as a sequel to our judgment just delivered, we further direct, henceforth, the Auditor General shall take steps to recover the amount unlawfully expended from a person or persons who incurred or authorized the disallowed expenditure. I won't bore you with the second one. Let me go to the third one. The third one, it says, the Auditor General shall take steps to recover the value of the loss or deficiency from the person or persons by whose negligence or misconduct the loss or deficiencies were incurred. Then they put into bracket whether or not the person is a public servant. Then finally, this is where I'm happy what the president is doing. Finally, they directed the attention to the Attorney General. They said, finally, the Attorney General is also hereby ordered to take all necessary steps to enforce the decisions or steps taken by the Auditor General Supra to ensure compliance, including, in some cases, criminal prosecution. So if Auditor General becomes minded to dutifully disallow and surcharge, an Attorney General comes in, activating his mandate under Article 88 for civil as well as criminal prosecution, I think we will go very far.
I see.
Thank you.
But then, if all of this is in the judgment, why is the Auditor General not surcharging?
That beats my mind, my brother. And I think if you go to clause 2 of the Constitution, it makes it even worse that when Supreme Court do this type of interpretation and give guidance and you don't comply with it, you have committed high crime.
So the Auditor
I think
General,
the Auditor General is committing high crime, but we are looking on. And high crime, you know the consequence. There is nothing like a fine. It's a custodial sentence. So if the Auditor General will not obey the Supreme Court, then I think he must be taken on for committing high crime. I hope he is listening to me. He should hurry up with all the disallowances and surcharges so that we don't get there, because it's not good to continuously bastardize that office. I pray that we don't do that to him.
Mr. Domelevo, I know you and the Auditor General, you talk. I quite remember in the case that was involving the University of Ghana, and I spoke to you and said you are talking with the Auditor General, and I know you have a certain relationship. So are you not telling him about this high crime that you are talking about here?
Even last week we talked. And he assured me that he's going to do the disallowances and surcharge of the national service this year. I said, look, you have issued this beautiful report. The Constitution says that in the course of doing that, come out with disallowance and surcharge. And he said he is in the process. So I'm thinking that he's waking up.
I see.
So very soon, we will start seeing disallowances and surcharges if he meant what he told me.
I see. But you see, Solo, and this is what, if the law empowers the Auditor General to surcharge, disallow, as one of the means of deterrence, and he's not doing so, which is, Mr. Domelevo has identified, one of the fueling factors in this acts of corruption that we're seeing in the public sector, then what should be done?
So, Alfred, one of the things that Mr. Domelevo failed to tell you is that the levels of corruption within the Auditor General itself is amazing. It's mind-blowing. That office itself, who watches the watchman? They go and take bribes. I know people, look, you see, when you means worse, you come here and sugarcoat it. Then we are always taking it back. He knows it. If you like, call him. People are sent outside to this country to go and audit our missions abroad. Go and find out from them. Go and find out what they go there to do. They go read their reports as if it's a template, always the same report. Yet they are stealing from us.
But do you have proof for this?
More than, you see, look, this gentleman, the second accused in Hanan's case, you know the buffer stock, one Richard Asante. This gentleman has stolen from us and is hiding in London. I'm coming.
How are you able to? So you see,
I'm going to show the pharmacies that you own in this country. You see, you don't want the truth.
Wait.
You don't want it.
Before you make a statement of stealing, it must have been, as Mr. Danvo indicated, proven beyond reasonable doubt. It's not one that you sit on the table. No, wait. It's not that one that you sit on the table to pronounce.
The Attorney General, the Attorney General.
We have to disassociate ourselves
don't
from
let us play with semantics.
No. I understand.
Let me explain myself.
But we have to.
If you don't let me explain myself, then it means you will be putting words in my mouth.
No.
The Attorney General is in court. There is nowhere in his writ that he has written that allegedly stealing. He said stealing.
But that is it has to prove beyond reasonable
But
doubt.
that is for the Attorney General. The Attorney General is
the burden of proof is on him. That's what I'm saying.
No, that was
I understand.
I am paying the Attorney General. The Attorney General is paid for my pocket. Now he's supposed to work for me, you and I. He is saying that Hanan and Co have stolen from us. Why do you expect me to come and sit there and say allegedly?
Well, you see, there's a difference.
What's the difference?
Let me tell you. So wait.
Yes.
You see, what the Attorney General has done
Yes.
in going to court
Yes.
to have these charges slapped on this person.
Yes.
The burden of proof is on him.
Yes.
To prove beyond reasonable doubt.
Absolutely, if he's unable to prove that, it doesn't matter.
That's what I'm saying. That if you come here
Yes.
and you say it without proving beyond reasonable doubt, which I don't have the capacity to determine.
Alfred, the man is in
That's
court.
all I'm saying.
A writ is a public document.
Make your point.
What he's telling the entire country is that Mr. So and so has stolen. I'm saying that the second accused in this matter, who is alleged, that it is Asante, who is alleged, who is hiding in London. I know what he did with the money, and I'm going to send it to the Attorney General.
You're going to send it to the Attorney General.
Absolutely. So you see, we must not be dilly-dallying. Those that are supposed to fish out the corrupt officials, they themselves are involved in corruption. And that is why I like the angle of Prof, that if all chief executives are going to do that, we will be saved. Because he is using the internal control auditor to save himself and that of the country. Prof can decide not to engage him and yet engage these Auditor General's representatives and then do business with them. And I can tell you, they will write the best of reports. And so this lifestyle audit, it must happen. It ought to happen.
Right.
It cannot just be that we know the salaries of people in this country and all of a sudden they are living in mansions and nobody questions them. We are okay with it. When they go to church, they are given the high table. The pastors are for it. When they go to the mosque, they are given the best seats to sit on. The imams are for it. When they go to the shrines or visit the shrines that have taste, they are even giving them welcoming address. So it means that the whole system is corrupt. So we need men and women of integrity to be occupying our public space and not go in the directions of this is my party member, employ the party person. Why must we do that to ourselves? And I don't believe in that. We must hit them. From here, the office of the Attorney General, I'll come to you. I'm going to show you that Richard Asante's properties, what you use the looted funds of the state to do, so that we recover them for the state. It's very, very important.
All right.
Very important.
So, Mr. Nemolovo, I'll give you a minute in the intervention you want to make, because Alfred Appiah is going to go into the National Service Authority, the forensic audit, which also uncovers a new level of what we already know. Yes, Mr. Level.
Yeah, thank you very much. Solomon, I like the passion with which you are approaching this fight against corruption. But I would only like to plead with you that do not generalize it too much, especially when you don't have the evidence. I am not saying that the Ghana Audit Service is made up of angels and saints. Definitely there may be bad nuts there. And we have that all over. In fact, I don't even know whether within your own team there are no corrupt people.
There are more corrupt.
But then until we have the evidence, it is bad to say that the auditors are also corrupt. If you say even some of them are corrupt, I have no problem with you. So I just want you to be a bit charitable in the way you go about it.
You see, you are right.
Okay, thank you.
Some of
Thank you.
them
Well,
are-
gentlemen,
some of them are corrupt, but it's only a bad man, one bad man that spoil all of it. So
right.
the audit service,
Okay,
and that's what I'm describing.
You made your point.
Highly
Isaac, you
corrupt.
wanted to come in quickly, very quickly, so that
Highly corrupt.
I need to get into the NSA forensic audit.
Yeah,
Yes, quick
so,
one.
I mean, just quickly to address Prof. Jampo's question about nulli prosequi. Just briefly, it's just really at the discretion of the Attorney General. And the idea is that the state is no longer interested in the case. So even in court, they are not required to give a reason. And the idea behind it is that we are using state resources to prosecute a case. It may be for cost-benefit reasons. They feel like this is not a case they can secure a conviction for. They think maybe, as you rightly said, the basis of the case was maybe not too solid substantively, and therefore the state, or it could just be political. The state is just not interested, and he has that power to enter that. You know, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much. You see, Mr. Domelevo, you referenced this Auditor-General's forensic audit because the Attorney General indicated that this forensic audit that uncovered more rot in this National Service Authority scandal, increasing it from a little over 500 million to 2.2 billion, was actually conducted by the Auditor General. Let's hear from the Attorney General, and I'll show you portions of it. Alfred will come in a bit. Take a look at this.
Prosecutions have commenced in the SkyTrain and National Service scandals. In the case of the latter, we have filed charges against the former Chief Executive, Executive Director, Osea Sibe-Ntwi, and his deputy, Gifty Owari. Charges are being prepared against the rest of the public officers and the so-called marketplace vendors. In all, we intend to file about 10 cases in the NSA scandal and will use some of the public officers and vendors as prosecution witnesses. Now, this is a strategy that is working very well for us, and we intend to continue to use that strategy. In a situation where there is a small criminal among big criminals, and the small criminal knows a lot, it is better as a matter of prosecutorial strategy to use a small criminal to get the information in order to be able to succeed, and that is what I'm doing. Also, I wish to announce that the Auditor General has conducted a forensic audit into the NSA, the National Service scandal, and the total amount of money stolen or illegally spent now stands at 2.2 billion, and not the 548 million that was uncovered by my investigators as at June 2025. And then, ladies and gentlemen, I have here a copy of the Auditor General's report. Again, painstaking investigation is very important in criminal matters. And so, based upon what the Auditor General has done, and this is a forensic audit, okay? Forensic audit means that they've gone beyond what ordinary, auditing would have done. And so, we are going to, based upon this, in some cases, change the charge, amend our charge sheets in order to bring fresh charges.
That is the Auditor General right there. And to indicate that if we are all incensed about even what the ordinary audit reveals, there's a forensic audit that was done. In fact, this is actually a subject of a court proceeding as we speak. This week, Osea Sibe-Ntwi, the former Director General of the National Service Authority, was granted 800 million cedis bail. And this is why. We'll show you. The payroll review of this forensic audit revealed repeated high-value payments to Sibe-Ntwi, a former director of the National Service Authority. It goes on and says he was registered as a volunteer under the ID you see there. Though officially posted to Greater Accra, records falsely placed him at Kumewu Farms. And then he held an e-switch card, received 516,000 cedis monthly as a volunteer between 2023 and 2024, totaling a little over 8.25 million Ghana cedis. Kumewu Farms has 50 volunteers, each separately paid through their own e-switch cards. Alfred, what more did you find? Let's flip to the next slide you have there. What more did you find in this forensic audit? Alfred.
Yeah, thanks, Alfred. I want to, of course, start by saying that we are only analyzing what has been reported by the Auditor-General, right? And any issues of any criminal issues we know are still in court and they've not been tested yet. So we're not making any proclamations, but we're just, analyzing what the Auditor-General has done. And so the audit period covered 2018 to 2024. Right. And I think in order for us to understand the findings, I think it's important to understand sort of the processes that the National Service Authority goes through in terms of getting people into service. Right. So there is enrollment. And this is important because we'll talk about where the control weaknesses were found or where the system was intentionally, according to the auditors, bypassed. Right. So there is enrollment. This is where the tertiary institutions would upload the list of graduating students or people that are eligible for national service, get uploaded into this system, which is the Central Service Management Portal, the technology that the National Service was using. And then as part of that enrollment, there's some manual enrollment that can also be done as part of that process. The interesting thing is when you look at the technology, there's so many controls that are built into it, at least on paper. Right. And so that begs the question about the technology and how we're trying to use technology in the name of, digitalization that we've been pursuing. But there's technology and then there's also governance issues. Right. And I think a lot of the times we focus a lot on the technology, but the technology doesn't itself address the governance issues that we have. Right. So the enrollment part, that's the starting point. People, universities or the tertiary institutions will upload the list. Then there is the posting.
Yeah.
In the posting stage, there's also system-based posting, right? So some people will just be automatically placed. There might be people that are on a protocol list. Some people are requested specifically. There might be user agencies, for example, that would request certain personnel. Like I did my national service at the University of Ghana, for example, and so somebody my department would have to make a request and those kinds of things. So there is that, but then there's also overrides. There's also the manual part of the posting, right? And that's important because that was where the issues were, right? The manual process is supposed to be sort of like for exceptional cases, right? But as I'll show later, or the audits showed later, you will see that it actually became the norm. So after the posting, then there is the validation. So in the validation stage, it's actually very interesting when you read the audit report because there's so many levels of controls that are built into it. There's like validation at the district manager level. There's validation at the regional level. Like there's so many layers of approval that is supposed to help and make this process robust, right? There's biometric verification that's supposed to happen. So after all that validation is done, then there's the processing of the payroll. And then people actually get paid. So the payroll processing includes building the master list of people that are supposed to be paid, and then sending the list to the Ghana interbank payment system, right? That's basically for financial verification, and then people are paid through eSwitch or Ghana Pay. So when you look at the process, right?
Yeah. I want us to look at the detail as we have it.
The whole idea of digitalizing the process was supposed to basically remove some of these manual things and build a robust process. But that did not happen, of course. So as the Auditor-General found, the total infractions or the total irregularities was actually 2.45 billion. So it's actually about 200 million more than what the Attorney General said. We have 2.45 billion according to the audit report. And when you look at the breakdown, 1 billion of that, just over 1 billion of that, is payment exceeding 13 months. So in the national service, you are posted for 12 months, right? And then there's a convention of like an additional month of payment to help you with your transportation to go back home or whatever, right? So any payments should it be the maximum number of payment that somebody should get is 13, right? We have 1 billion cedis worth of payment that is beyond 13 months. And you will see that later that there's some people got even paid, or some people supposedly got paid for 70 months. I don't know how you would explain that. I talked about those validations. So when you look at the audit report, there is 989 million cedis of payments that went through without any biometric, any of those validation things that I talked about.
Okay.
There's things around like unsupported payment to NSP vendors, bank account transactions that are not accounted for, and then also some of the unsupported payment to volunteers. So I sort of wanted to go through each of them a little bit for us to understand a little bit more. So with this table shows a breakdown, right, of the number of payment. Remember I said 13 months is the maximum. So there is 110,000 national service personnel that were paid between 14 and 19 times. The amount corresponding to that is about 882 million Ghana cedis. So I don't know how you would be able to explain this, that people that are supposed to be paid at a maximum of 13 times, some are even getting paid 70 times, right? So obviously there's an issue. And part of this is, then, and this is where the auditor also put a caveat that there might be instances where there might be some justifications. I don't know anybody that is doing national service, over maybe 10 years or so many years to be receiving that many payments. But those justifications, of course, will be things that would have to be proved in court. The other thing that I think is interesting is the payments without validation. So remember, I talked about those levels of validation that are supposed to happen. Right. So there's validation upon assumption of duty. And then each month that a person is working, there's supposed to be a validation. And then finally, once they're done service, there's also a validation that happens. Right. So many layers of validation. But when you look at the service years, and it's interesting, when you look at 2021 and 2022, it was even very significant that none of these transactions or none of these payments were to people that have gone through the established levels of validation. There wasn't a single validation that had happened. So obviously the implication here, or the effect here, is that you're getting into the issue of ghost names, right? Because if people are not getting validated, how are we paying them? Especially when you look at the robust process that has been put in place. Then the other one is the use of manual posting. So remember, I mentioned in the beginning about the postings are supposed to be, most of them are supposed to be automatic, and that the protocol and the manual override postings are supposed to be like the exceptions, right? But when you look at this chart over the 8-year period, over the 7-year period, at least in this case, manual posting became the norm. And the reason this is important is because once you're doing manual posting, right, basically, who knows what you are introducing into the system, right? Which additional people are you introducing into the system? Because the whole idea of having somebody go through all the processes from enrollment to posting through the payroll validation and all of that is to be able to make sure that the controls that have been built into the technology are working, so that if somebody has not been biometrically verified, for example, they are not going to get paid, right? So manual posting became the norm. And then also the uploads. Remember in the beginning, the enrollment, I talked about the upload. So when you look at the first 4 years, it was very high, like, vast majority of basically almost 100% they were using the automated process for uploading people into the system. But when you look at it over time, 2023, only 15% of the uploads were going through the process. So people are intentionally sidestepping the system that has been put in place to make sure that we automate these things and reduce the risk of fraud. Because again, the thing with fraud and all of this is like, it depends on what controls you've been put in place to mitigate some of those risks. And in this case, people intentionally were bypassing the system. So I think you already talked about the former national service boss. We talked about the fact that I don't want to go over the slide. He was getting 516 cedis, 516,000 cedis every month for being a volunteer. Even though where he was posted was different from where he was supposed to be. And then we also know about the deputy executive director. I think she gets more attention than the main boss. But anyways, she also got posted to a school, actually a primary school somewhere in Tamale. when she was still the deputy executive director. So she had taken a course at KNUST, and so she was there. And one of the interesting things is that her pin was approved by Mustafa Yusuf, who was the former executive director, but also appointed as sports minister. And the auditors found something interesting so he was appointed as sports minister on January 12th, and when you look into the records, he was sworn in at, I think, on early March or something like that. But then he approved according to the records, he approved the pin on April 22nd. So when he was minister, maybe how was he able to approve? So there's things that need to be done.
Right.
But I think
I wanted to hold on to that point. And Solo, I'll bring you in because of the deputy and then the former deputy director general and the director general himself, and those 2 points about their enrollment as national service person. Gitiwari received her full, according to this forensic audit, received their full allowances, and then also the former director general received his full allowances, and in fact, he was put on a monthly allowance of 516,000 cedis per month between 2023 and 2024, totaling 8,256,000 Ghana cedis. How, if there are controls, as Alfred just displayed, to detect this, they went past the controls, nothing was done. They had to take a forensic audit to uncover this rot that we're seeing based on what the Auditor-General put out there.
So, Alfred, the forensic audit puts the entire figure at 2.4 billion. Let viewers understand. And that 2.4 billion is able to establish 6 banks in this country. You will need only 400 million Ghana cedis to establish a bank in this country. What it means is that the actions and inactions of Asibe and Gift-Owari has caused this country or denied this country the opportunity of establishing 6 banks that could have employed a lot of the youth in this country. And that is why the youth in this country, whether you are in the MPP or you are NDC or you are in the United Party or everywhere, must be angry. Because a lot of them have finished schools and they are home, not getting jobs to do. Why are they not getting jobs? Money that could have been used to expand the economy are in the pockets of these people. And I can tell you that the auditors will classify these as irregularities. When they are pure thievery, stealing, you say we shouldn't use that. Let the people know that they are stolen.
That have to be proven in court eventually.
That has to be what? Well, they will be in court and have their day, but at the end, all those that end up in Isawam, it starts as allegations. That's the case.
And then eventually proven.
Absolutely.
It has to be proven.
So, we were told in this country that the National Service had developed an app called Metric App. Remember that? Yes. And that was told by Zato's boss, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, that app alone was able to, as it were, take out 44,000 ghost names. And as he described it, ghosts do not have fingers. They do not have thumbs. They do not have this. They cannot, as it were, plug to be registered as National Service personnel. So on what basis that in spite of this huge investment in this app, we still have these ghost names and we still have SCB and even Owari. Now, the revelation by, I've forgotten the gentleman's name, the one that is giving us the statistics.
Alfred Appiah.
Alfred Appiah, sorry for not reminding him early, is that Gifty's pin was approved by who?
The former
Mustafa Yusuf.
Yes.
I've been saying, I don't know why the name is missing from those that are being prosecuted. He not just the National Service. Remember the All Africa Games, the 30th edition.
That is also one of the issues the
as for
Attorney
that
General
place,
is investigating.
it's worse. The
Said he's
30th edition is
investigating
worse. That they used $16 million to renovate. And I'm very happy that we have 2 lecturers here. Elizabeth said, Liman and then Kwapon. These hostels are all already habitable. Students are living. When some of us went there to check what exactly they did, they had only procured or bought air conditioners. How can air conditioners or air conditioners for these 3 halls cost this country $16 million? Tax. journalists, when you go for programs, these your papers. They told that they expended $3.6 million. When I checked the Olympic Games in Paris, for the entire world, it costed less than 750,000 euros. But small all Africa Games, not even all the countries attended. They said 3.6 million. Food, the last time I was talking about this, someone was making noise. Food alone, water and Bessie, Fufu, Banku, even the athletes that came from other countries, they don't even know how to eat the Fufu and Banku. They expended $15 million. $15 million. Now you go to Takwa, the TMA or the Goldfish constructed a brand new stadium, fresh from the scratch. They expended only $14 million, almost $14 million. The Lagos Sports Stadium was about 84% completed or complete. Yet we were told that to finish it, they expended $34 million to do that. How can we do this to ourselves? How? And so the issues of corruption is endemic. It's within the DNA. And you need that robust Rambo-style way of dealing with it and establishing some levels of new culture of doing business in the public sector. Else, we are not going anywhere. And so we must deal with it and not look at faces. If we are going to look at faces, we will not get anywhere. And that must also be a cause of concern that the former finance minister is not back to town.
Well, it's the next issue. Dr. Ato, you see, the concern here is even what the forensic audit has uncovered is one that goes beyond what the Auditor-General, that's the Attorney General put out earlier. Yeah. His direction is that there are some recommendations in here that have to be implemented, even though there were controls, as this forensic audit by the Auditor-General review. All of this happened.
Thank you.
Concerning, to say the least.
Alfred, I must say that when I look at these figures, the numbers being banted around, if you just add national service and buffer stock, you are looking at almost 3 or 4 billion cedis. When I look at those figures, I'm scandalized. I am scandalized because these two institutions, one, take national service, is there to serve very vulnerable people. Anybody who has ever done national service understands. You come out of school, you are vulnerable. You have no, especially those who are not living in their hometowns. All of a sudden, you have to pay rent, pay food, pay transport. And some of them sometimes go 3, 4, 5 months without the distance. So this is an agency that was supposed to serve very vulnerable people. So if you take money from very vulnerable people, it's a big issue. Take buffer stock. Last year, the NPP could not even use free HSS to campaign because the food had gone bad or was not there. There was no food. The vulnerable people, the people, free HSS is also a poverty eradication tool. Some of us, we ate the best food when we were in school. So if you deny children, poor children, vulnerable children, food, in that sense, it's also so for me, that's what I'm saying, that these figures, these numbers scandalize me. But then it then brings us back to where I started from. If you look at the total amount of money within this national service and this, but still it's about 4 billion. Let's just say 4 billion that the state is trying to go after. Huge amount. I did some very rudimentary math, somebody did, to look at about 7 cases of the nolle prosequia.
You see,
Saglemi, no, I want to know this point important. Saglemi the case is about 3 billion. Dr. Kwabena Dufour about 5 billion. And Thompson is about 99 million. I'm saying, I just want to make this point. If you add the total amount of money in these cases together, it comes up to something close to about what? 10 billion Ghana cedis. So that was the amount of money flushed to the toilet through a nolle prosecutor. So you now have the state of Ghana throw away $10 billion through sweetheart nolle prosecutor deals, but now it's chasing about $4 billion. Do you understand the logic? Doesn't that infuriate you? Doesn't that annoy you?
Does that negate?
It doesn't. I'm not saying negate. Never. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that when you begin to look at it, just ask yourself, we could have chased this people, and even imagine we didn't even get the whole money with the null, and we go half. Imagine you told these people, pay the money and go free. We will have more money than we are chasing now. So who does that? You take the 10 billion that if you could have had, throw it away through a political sweetheart deal, and now you're now going, you are chasing this. You may not even get this $4 billion, or you may get all of it. Even if you get all of this. So my point is that the nolle prosecutor is not the problem. It is how nolle prosequi is used or misused or abused. It is when you use nolle prosequi to reward only your friends and you associate your political friends. That is when it means you are weaponizing the nolle prosequi to achieve and service political, personal, parochial interests. That is the problem of nolle prosequi. But its existence as a tool for the state, I don't question that. Because sometimes as a nation, you need it to do certain things. And sometimes you use nolle prosequi to conduct national diplomacy. So my point is that, don't look, so when if you watching us, if you are outraged by all these figures being thrown about, you should equally be outraged by the nolle prosequi that flash out this amount of money. Those two things are important. If you are only outraged by these figures, then it means that you too are playing to the partisanship that has led us to where we are here because of partisanship. And the reason why these internal controls don't work is partisanship. And so let's do that. Let's be outraged and let's say that don't do that again. That what happened with this thing was wrong. It should never happen again. And I want to come to something quickly to end with the buffer stock. I'm interested in the buffer stock these days. I'm very happy. The government yesterday or the course of the week announced something. It's very important that the cabinet has approved to release 100 million cedis to buy food. If you go to Sesala, if you go to where the best maize in Ghana is produced, there are people with thousands of bags of maize in warehouses they cannot sell because the price is so low. And not only that, they don't have people to buy. So now the thing is that the crop in the field is about to come down home. So you now have a farmer who has his warehouse is full, but there's crop on the field. It is a courageous investment in farming and the youth in great farming. So thank you, Mr. Government, for this money. And I pray and hope that the Minister of Finance will actually release it. And when it happens, please, Mr. Buffer Stock, go. Start in Tumu first. Start in Wallingham. Start in Charlotte. Start in Sakai. Go to Tumu first. Go to Saleh. Go start buy the food. Give the point. And there was a farm gate money promise of 450 Ghana cedis for a bag of maize. Because currently, bag of maize, if you have it, you can't get it.
Okay.
So let them do that and go buy this. And so once that happens, you buy the old stock before the new stock comes. Okay. So thank you, Mr. Cabinet, for this. Mr. Finance Minister, go ahead, follow and do it so that the farmers will get it. Because some farmers are threatening to protest the Farmers' Day celebration. And these are some of the reasons. So please, thank you.
Yeah. Quick one. What Zato is saying, I think the solution rather must be for this government not to, as it would do away with the one district, one factory. This is not sustainable. That one district, one factory, no matter its challenges, must be brought back so that it takes care of these raw materials. Because food, produce from agriculture serves as raw materials for industries to thrive in these areas. That is the only way we can be sustainable, and not to do away with that policy. It's very important that the government restores the 1D, 1F.
So thank you. I agree with Solomon.
No,
it was a question that was brought by MPP, and you like it. Thank you very much. And your boss is well with it. You want to give credit to Allah, not MPP.
Thank you.
MPP manifesto.
I'll come to you.
I just wanted an analysis. I deliberately asked you to give us your view, a little more education about the justification or the essence of nolle prosequi. And from what you said, okay, number one, you are telling us that the AG is not bound to give reasons for filing it, okay? But then you went out to also speak to some of the possible reasonings why they may be filed. And so for me, it is not too accurate to make an argument that projects or perceives the use of nolle prosequi only for the wrong reasons. Okay, there may be good reasons for using it. And so I want Zato you have to situate your argument in a manner that looks at all the sides. Okay, now you are now insinuating or making the point that it was nolle prosequi that was used as a basis to, I don't want to use the expression that you use, because it's early in the morning, but as it were, to deliberately discontinue certain cases purely for partisan reasons. But how about the argument he raised that there may have been a cost-benefit analysis? How about the argument he raised that there may have been other factors that that made it unworthy to pursue, a certain course of action because it may not even inure to the benefit. So I want us to look at, the totality of the picture in our analysis. Otherwise, then why should knowledge prosecute if it is not relevant? If it is not good, then it should not be in our, our statute book or in our pursuit for, some of these courses of action. So let us nuance it well. I believe that, look, if things are to be done, if we have to fight corruption, we have to look at all facets, all angles, okay? But the moment put your hand down. When we are talking about
you made your point. No.
President used it.
Yes.
You remember the Delta
It was-
Force issue?
exactly.
When they forcibly entered a court, these Delta Force guys in Kumasi forcibly entered the court and changed the judge. It was President Akufo-Addo through his the Justice Minister,
Right.
Warrior Kufu. That issue of knowledge prosecutor freed those people.
It was also
Thank you. Thank you very much. Gentlemen, thank you.
Also use the
Thank you
Aisha
very
one.
much.
Aisha one.
Now,
No, I'm saying it has been used. I'm not saying.
Hold on.
So my point
Your
is that
microphones are off.
The
Your
problem
microphones
is
are off,
not.
by
The
the
problem
way.
is not knowledge
Thank you very
prosecutor.
much.
The problem is how it is used.
You're not being heard. So
So
let me.
He was strong. He
Professor
was strong.
Jambo,
But
make
it
your
was
point.
So I'm trying to.
It was also used in the
Prof, make
Aisha
your
one
point.
case.
Prof,
I'm
make your
trying
How
to
it
say
is
that.
used.
I'm trying to say that we cannot. You see, we cannot. Given that, like you educated us, given that the AG is not bound to tell us his reason, we cannot forcibly impute bad reasoning and bad judgment and excessive partisanship to the reasoning for filing, to his reasoning for filing, not prosecutor for all cases. We cannot do that. Okay, but I would go for an argument that says that, look, let us go after every corrupt, individual. Let us drag it. Let us pursue it. And when we get to that point where we realize that, look, it's amounting to romancing a stone, and so we cannot go on that tangent, you come and brief, Ghanaians. But let us not sit here and judge every filing of knowledge prosecutor as being bad, because the man is not even here to tell you the reason, and he's not bound to do so. And the fact that he's not bound to give you reasoning does not mean that you must, by all means, interpret bad judgment or bad reasoning to it. That's what you sought to do, and I thought it was.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
It's also right
Dr. Zato, your phone is. Thank you.
Quickly say that you're right. The knowledge prosecutor we have under the AG Auditor-General's dispensation is strictly a political tool, right? So he uses it according to his
As and when he
discretion
wants, yes.
and how he wants it. And of course, the Republic will have commentaries and deductions that will be made about it. A more forward-looking act, the OSP's act, the OSP, the special prosecutor, also has the power to, file null prosecutor. But his law required that he has to give a reason. So that's a more forward-looking way of looking at it. Otherwise, politicians will always be politicians. They'll take the decisions and people will make comments.
We should look at amending
The forward-looking approach is what he says. Okay, thank you.
Politicians have used it, abused it, and misused
So
it.
talk about the OSP and Mr. Damolovo, you wanted to make a quick point on this national service matter and the forensic audit that you referenced earlier. Now, it will lead us into the SML conversation, but just a quick one on this, the NSA, the forensic audit that has been done, even though I see the Auditor-General in this forensic audit indicate clearly that there were a number of controls, including the digitized system, the apps that were put in there, it was never able to stop these acts that we saw cost the nation, based on what this report is saying, over 2.2 billion cedis.
Thank you very much. As for the controls, they are built into almost all softwares. If you take the national payroll, if you take the what do you call the integrated financial management system, the IFMIS or GIFMIS, so if you take the national service one, almost every payroll or software come with controls. However, these controls many times are compromised. And it is said that no internal control can withstand collusion. When people decide to come together to beat the internal control, it will be beaten. It doesn't matter how robust the software is. So I think that is what has happened. And that is the reason why we always talk about the soft control, which is disciplinary measures to deter people from violating or removing those controls. That is the reason why I am happy that the Attorney General has come in. If we are able to pursue the disallowance and surcharge, so that we can recover these monies through civil procedure, which is allowed by Article 88 of the Constitution, and again, do criminal prosecution because of the criminal acts that have been alleged, I think it will be good. We must not, as a country, be aiming at only incarcerating people. We must look at how to recover the money, and not only the amount stolen, a surcharge, which means it comes with a penalty or a punishment. You take 10 million, we collect 15 or 20 million from you. So if we're able to do that and collect the money, and again, take the people through criminal prosecution, I think it is good. I said this example, which is an extreme, but I like it. The former minister of Agric in China was found guilty of collecting bribes and doing some dubious things to the tune of about 38 million. The trial took less than 4 months. It was about 3 months and some few days. And he was done what? Sentenced to death. But of course, with reprieve, to say that, look, you have 2 years to live. If you don't want us to execute you, then you don't only hand over the 38 million, but plus all your assets. I think we should start making our laws should start making corruption unattractive. Unlike what Dr. Zato would like to say, I think that corruption has dealt too much dirty blow to Ghana, said that it is time for us also to revenge. If we don't do that, corruption is becoming too attractive to our public office holders. I use public office holders. I don't use politicians, because I know politicians are corrupt. Public servants are also corrupt. So these public office holders must be held accountable. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daniel Yaw de Mello. Stay with me.